Thank you. And we're going to take a live look now at the White House here in just a moment, where in just hours, President Biden, the First Lady, and Vice President Harris will hold an event on the overturning of Roe v. Wade. The landmark decision made a year ago tomorrow stripped away the decades-old long right for women to have an abortion and left access to abortions up to the states.
So where does the issue stand right now, 1 year later? Joining us now is Cathren Cohen. She's a staff attorney at the Center on Reproductive Health, Law and Policy at UCLA School of Law. Thanks so much for being here with us. So how have things changed now that it has been 1 year? What are we seeing?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. So 1 year after the Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade, the legal status of abortion is still very much unsettled and still very much being litigated and legislated in the states. We have at this point more than a dozen states that have already made abortion illegal, but we anticipate that ultimately half of states in the country are going to either ban or severely restrict abortion. There are still bills being introduced, every day. There are still cases being litigated, which means that kind of from a week-to-week basis, the legal status of abortion is changing in some of these states. And that can make it really difficult for patients who are trying to seek out this health care to find out where it's actually accessible.
And Cathren, tell us a little more about how the ruling is now impacting patients nationwide and how it's impacting care here in California.
So we have some initial data on the number of patients who would previously have sought out and obtained an abortion and haven't been able to. A report from the Society for Family Planning called We Count has found that in the 9 months after the Supreme Court decision, there were 25,000 fewer abortions, and that's 25,000 people and families who are then now burdened with a pregnancy that was not intended and may not have had the resources to support. So we know that there's at least those number of people. It's impossible for the data, though, to capture everyone because of the fear and stigma. And so we know that there's many more people who have been affected. So far, we have seen a lot of shifts in where people are traveling for abortion access. And while they're coming to states like Illinois and California that have protected access, there's also a lot of states that abortion is still, there are still efforts to ban abortion where people have been going. So for example, the largest increases from out of state have been in states like Florida and North Carolina, which are now considering their own abortion bans. So people are still shifting in where they are going.
Right. It is so hard actually in this past year to have kept up with all of the legal battles, right? And the reversals and the new laws locally and the different jurisdictions. So what are the legal issues surrounding abortion that are coming up that you're really looking out for, that are the big ones that will make an impact?
Absolutely. So this issue of people traveling between states is a big one. What we're seeing now is states going beyond just trying to ban abortion within their borders, but actually trying to prevent their residents from going to other states in order to get an abortion, either through trying to explicitly ban helping someone travel for an abortion, or by trying to extend the laws of their states into other states. For example, Texas's SB 8, which has been called the bounty hunter law, would allow somebody to sue someone in any state if they help someone from Texas get an abortion. And so whether or not a state can actually enforce their laws outside of the borders of their state, that's an issue that I expect to be seeing in the courts. The other thing that folks on the anti-abortion side are going after are abortion pills. One major difference from the pre-Roe days is that we have pills that can be put in the mail or then sent between people that make abortion more accessible, and in order to actually stop abortion, anti-abortion forces are going after these pills, and so I think we'll continue to see attacks as we have this last year in the courts.
Okay, Cathren, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this morning.
Thank you.